Washington needs edge rushers. It's time for Bryce Huff Player Focus. Let's go. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Ref the District's Player Focus. Today we'll be focusing on Bryce Huff. Before this, we focused on Mike Onwenu and L'Jarius Sneed. You're going to want to check those out. And if you like the content we're producing, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Or if you're listening to us on your favorite audio platform, make sure that you leave us a rating and review, as it helps other people find us. Bryce Huff is an exciting target here in free agency, Stoner, and we're going to be talking about him here in a little bit, because really this is just an exciting free agent period for Washington fans in general.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before, but it's always worth noting how much money this team has in free agency, and really this whole offseason, what it's all about in terms of finding the quarterback with a new coach, with the new defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, whole new staff, new GM, all of that. So they go into this offseason with the most money to spend in free agency, but a roster devoid in talent. So it's going to be important not only that they sign guys, but Nathan, they got to sign the right guys. And we think some of these guys that we've been looking at are the right guys for this team.
I know. How great would it be for some of the names that we've talked about to end up in Washington? I think it would be fantastic and a much improved team, but betting odds tell me it might not happen. And betting odds are all good and dandy right there at Bet Online, where you can get all the up-to-date wagering news. And if you like prop bets, they have all the prop bets for you as far as which player is going to go to which team. If you might have some insight, maybe you can make a quick buck or two, or maybe just if you have that little hunch, that feeling in your gut telling you to go there, Bet Online is going to be the place to do it. And you can use the code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to get yourself a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. And then just go out there to the site and make sure that you let them know we sent you, and make all the smart wagers on NBA, NHL, OV, continuing on a hot streak. Maybe that's what you want to put some money on. You also got some NBA and MLB action at your hands right there. Bet Online, where the game starts. Now, Stoner, Bryce Huff is not a player you're going to have to sell me on. It's not going to be a hard sell here, but maybe there's some people who aren't familiar with this game. So why don't we talk about him and see why he is a free agent target for you?
I love Bryce Huff. And for many, many different reasons, he's pretty much number 2 on my offseason free agent list. Number 1 is L'Jarius Sneed. And if you haven't checked that out, you got to check out our Player Focus content on L'Jarius Sneed. I love L'Jarius Sneed. But Bryce Huff is basically the epitome of what Joe Witt Jr. wants. And he says he wants his guys to arrive violently. That's what Bryce Huff can do. But let's look a little bit at who Bryce Huff is, kind of where he came from. Like, he's 6'3", 255 edge rusher. If you were building an edge rusher, Nathan, that's pretty much what you want, right? 6'3", 255, maybe 6'5", 260. I mean, that's being picky, but 6'3", 255. But the great thing about Bryce Huff is that he went undrafted out of Memphis. He basically played with our guy Antonio Gibson at Memphis, but he went undrafted. So he's hungry. He's super hungry. And he got that free agent signing, the undrafted free agent signing with the Jets. And all he's done in his 4 years there is gotten better and better and better. So last year, Nathan, in 2022, he only had 3.5 sacks, right? But he did have 10 QB hits in the course of 14 games. But what he did have last year, Nathan, was the number 1 pass win rate in the NFL last year. And that's just 2023 I'm talking about. 2022 that I'm talking about, not 2023. Forgive me. You'll figure it out. But in 2022, he only played in those 14 games, but he had so much pressure on the quarterback when he was in there. Jets fans are screaming, more Bryce Huff, more Bryce Huff. For whatever reason, he wasn't getting enough playing time. They had a lot of studs on that line, though, as well. It kind of kept his playing time to a minimum. Last year, he explodes. All 17 games, 10 sacks, 10 tackles for losses, 21 QB hits, number 2 in win rate for edge rushers behind only Micah Parsons when Micah Parsons was rushing the quarterback. Give me a break. That's the kind of guy that this team needs, Washington needs, is a guy who gets after the quarterback. He's not great at stopping the run necessarily. He's not necessarily great at doing all these other things. He gets to the quarterback. 42% of the snaps he played last year, right? So less plays than Chase Young was playing, but 10 sacks.
Yeah.
So double the production, Nathan. This is a guy who would fit perfectly into Washington's system.
Well, like I said, you're not really going to have to sell me. You know that I love me some edge rushers. I feel like pass rusher is the second most important position on the team.
Yeah.
And you detailed out why Bryce Huff can be fantastic at that. But you also just kind of hinted that maybe he's only playing positional snaps.
Yeah.
And that maybe adds some concern here because is his liability in the run game, or is it a liability even just to extend the number of snaps? Because we know that doesn't equal production. Casey, 2 sacks, had 2 sacks and 10 snaps, and then you gave him 50 snaps and he doesn't get any.
Right.
And so Bryce Huff, if he increases his snap percentage, will we get that kind of same level of production, or are we going to see a dip in production because he's being overused, can't be as explosive? Are we going to see him be abused by the opposing offense because they know he's not a good run stopper and run the ball at him if he has all those extended snaps?
I think that's absolutely fair to be concerned about his ability to kind of stop the run or his success in doing so. If you kind of look at his PFF grades, again, take it for what it's worth. It's a PFF grade. I mean, he was a 79.7 overall on the defensive line and on the edge. In the pass rush, he was an 86.8, 10th best in the entire NFL. The names around him, the linebackers / edge rushers around him, guys like Josh Allen, Hendrickson, Khalil Mack, JOK from the Browns. That's the company he's in terms of the grading he's getting from PFF. But if you look at his rush defense, he was a 48 from PFF. Again, take that for what it's worth. So you know what you're getting. Let's not get carried away that all of a sudden you've got a TJ Watt, right? It's not taken for granted you've got a Myles Garrett who does it all. This is a pass rushing type player, but he's very, very, very good at it. So that's the kind of guy that Washington needs. When you look, they only have the 2 guys signed, and that was your 2 late round draft picks, your 5th and your 7th round draft picks from last year. Only guys that are signed for next year. So you need guys, and Bryce Huff, I think, would fit perfectly.
All right. So I've mentioned this before, but I want to be the team that gets somebody's pass rusher and they have a very solid career, right? We've seen Arakipo leave. We've seen Preston Smith leave. We're now seeing Montez Sweat leave. And these guys go on to have very productive careers. Not Hall of Fame careers by any means, but very productive careers. It might be time that we reap the benefits of somebody else's development here and take on Bryce Huff. But my question is, one of the reasons why those guys left was because of money. Yeah. How much is Bryce Huff going to cost Washington if they sign him as a free agent?
Here's the beauty of it, Nathan. He's not going to cost a ton. He's not going to break your bank because he is, number one, a specialist. Number two, he's only done it over a short period of time, just in the last 2 years. And number three, there are a lot of edge rushers in this free agent class. Guys like the Josh Allen I mentioned, Brian Burns, Danielle Hunter from the Vikings, Grenard, Leonard Williams from his own team is also another guy who plays tackle and edge, but still, there's a ton of edge guys out there. That's going to keep his price down because those other guys are going to get the big bucks. So maybe you can sign him for somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 years, $50 million, which is about a $16 and a half million dollars per year AAV. And the Jets have the opportunity, obviously, to sign him to a franchise tag. That's going to cost him $23 million. They're not giving Bryce Huff $23 million. Take the franchise tag off in terms of possibilities. So you can get him at a good price. Young, he's only going to be 26 when season rolls around. Hungry. Like I said, he's very hungry because he was an undrafted guy. And it's time for him to kind of hit that next level, to hit the prime of his career. So he's not going to cost you a ton. And the Jets want to re-sign him, but he said to them, basically, I'm not giving you a hometown discount. I'm not taking some sort of pay cut. I'm going to take what's valued to me in the open market. And that's probably going to be in the $16 to $17 million per year, which is not outrageous for an edge rusher, a talented one. And also you can kind of spread that out a little bit. Doesn't necessarily have to be cap hit every year of 16 million. You can make it work. So it's not too difficult on your cap.
Yeah. Again, you've got me sold. It would be nice to see an edge rusher with the caliber of tackling the quarterback that Bryce Huff brings here to Washington. But you didn't have to sell me, Stoner, but maybe you had to sell you, the viewer. And I want to know whether or not Stoner sold you on Bryce Huff. Let us know in the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube, or hit us off on any of our social media platforms at Ref the District to kind of let us know whether or not you're a big fan of Bryce Huff to the Washington Commanders. He was our player focus, don't sleep player focus of the day. Don't sleep energy.com is where you want to go. Use the code district to get yourself 10% off on a DMV product, a DC product right there in-house. Great energy drinks, great products, and great people out there at Don't Sleep Energy. Just use the code at Don't Sleep District at don'tsleepenergy.com. Bryce Huff, our player focus for the day. We hope that you enjoyed this content. We're live every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern, so make sure you join the conversation there as well. I'm Nathan Perry. That's the Stoner. We're Ref the District here on the Believe Network, brought to you by Bet Online and Don't Sleep Energy. And until next time,
arrive violently, Nathan.
Be a fan.